I want to switch gears a little bit, talk to you about Ray Tanner. Obviously, your guy, again, played for Coach Ray Tanner, Hall of Famer. I mean, his record, his career speaks for itself at South Carolina, what he did. Obviously, the athletic director now. But just talk about, again, you said Monty Lee recruited you, who is now the head coach at Clemson. But talk about your first interactions with Ray Tanner. I've had a lot of guys on the show that played for him. And it's funny, DeSean, to hear guys from, like, the different eras, per se, because I've had guys that played as recently as last season, or not last season, but his last year in Columbia. I've got guys that played in, like, 2000. And to hear the differing stories and his attitude, we all know he's a tough SOB. He's tough on his players. He gets the best out of his players, though. But just talk about your first interactions with Tanner and what it was like being a player under Ray Tanner.
I think Coach Tanner is a fantastic coach and knows his baseball more than probably any other person I've been around. But what I would give Coach Tanner credit for is he's a fantastic person. Like, there was many a nights where it's well documented that I had a struggle in my year in Columbia, and most of it was due to stuff that's outside of can't be controlled. But at no point throughout that time did Coach Tanner ever say he was disappointed in me or that he was upset with me or anything like that. Like, he understood that I had some demons and some battles that I was fighting that I probably needed to get help for, and he was the main facilitator in that, and I have nothing but respect, and I would never sing anything but high praises for him for that. He's great in my book.
Is it weird? You know, I asked Bobby Haney this too. Bobby, a good buddy of mine. I asked Bobby this too, and I've asked other guys. I think Ethan maybe too. Is it weird for you, though? Because, again, we talked about a little bit off air. You're a guy, you follow me on social media. You're on social media. You see everything happening. You see all the chatter, stuff like that. Is it weird, as great as Coach Tanner was, is it weird to see him get all the criticism he gets now being in the AD role? Like, people wanting him legitimately fired? I mean, is that like a weird thing for you? Because, like, I'm sure there's where it's like you're this Hall of Fame coach, but now you're in this different role, and it's weird. Like, people feel so, some people feel so differently about him than they used to, which is kind of sad, to be honest. But, like, is that weird for you to see that?
Yeah, I've had to I had to mute the word like Ray Tanner on Twitter for a little bit because I was just responding to people like, okay, our football team isn't performing to the greatest standards, or our basketball team, or whatever sport it may be, our baseball team recently. And yes, I understand that he is in charge of the hiring and firing and all that stuff behind him, but they don't have the relationship that I had, well, that I don't want to say that I have it still, but that I had with him, and what he did for my life. Like, I can honestly say he was a part of saving my life. So, like, I took it personal for me, that the slander that he was getting online, and I understand that it is a business, and you have to perform in this business, or we will find somebody else to perform for you. So I respect that part of it, but I thought that some of the slander was like uncalled for. Like, it was unnecessary. People were saying some personal stuff. And it's like, if you have a problem with his business, that's one thing. But I don't really agree with the personal slander, because like his level of his profession, he's in a glass box. Like, there's nothing he can do that you can't know about. If his family or something terrible happens, we're gonna know just because of the stature of who this person is. But like, if my grandma dies or something, like, nobody's gonna know. Like, people were throwing stones at a glass house, and I did not appreciate that at all. So I had to like take a step back from firing back at people.
Yeah, no, I think we all get to that point at some point on Twitter. It's almost unavoidable. But I mean, I'll say this about Tanner. I mean, I have nothing but love for Coach Tanner. I don't know if being an AD is necessarily his calling, but I mean, and listen, not everybody's meant to be that or whatever. I mean, I don't think he's done a poor job. It's just, I think the tough thing, and, when people, I've said some things about Tanner before, nothing like too crazy, like nothing attacking him, obviously. But the one thing I've said a lot is it's so tough to judge an AD because most people don't really even know what an AD does. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, so he's being judged. The only thing you can really judge him off of is his hires, which, I mean, Will Muschamp and Mark Kingston are his two. And so, I mean, it's been rocky a little bit with both. But outside of that, I mean, you really don't there's nothing really to go off of. I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. I like Coach Tanner. I mean, I don't think there's any way. I'll tell you this, even if they want to change directions with the athletic director, there's no way you fire him. You have a conversation.
Absolutely not.
If you don't mind, like, step down. Because Coach Tanner deserves a statue outside of Founders Park, let's be honest. So,
I was just about to say that. This man deserves a monument on campus.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's he left, like, from baseball to AD at such a high note. Like, you go to 3 straight College World Series. And was he the coach? Was his last year the year they lost in Chapel Hill in the Super Regional?
No, that was Holbrook. So his last year was
they
lost to Arizona in the finals.
Arizona, okay. So, yeah, you go to 3 straight College World Series finals and arguably could have won all 3.
Yeah.
But you win 2 out of 3. And they just caught a buzzsaw in Arizona that year. I remember it now. But, yeah, like, he left on such a high that I think people just expected the transition to continue from the baseball success to carry over to other sports. And that's just, when you think about it, that's just not possible.
Were you surprised when he stepped away? Was there any indication to you that maybe that time was coming, that it was close? I mean, because it's, it was surprising to me because, again, he had been at Carolina for so long, but I memean, it felt like he had more good years left. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest what if when I look back is, I mean, and again, you played under Coach Holbrook, and guys I've talked to, they've got nothing but love for Coach Holbrook. And, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. Injuries, whatever. But it's easy to look back and say this, hindsight's 20/20, but there were a couple of those teams, especially like 13 and 14, that maybe if Coach Tanner's at the helm, those, if nothing else, are College World Series teams. I mean,
yeah,
did it surprise you he stepped away?
I was thoroughly surprised because that year would have been like my junior year down there if everything would have stayed well. And from my visit and the conversations that we had, it was, I'm going to be here with you the whole time. And I'm not saying that he was basing it on me personally, but like just the conversations that we had, it was, I didn't see it coming at all. I just knew he was going to be there for at least another 5, 6, 7, 8 years and just continue to build on I think he was forming like a mini dynasty, like because from 09 to 10 to like you get a 3 straight College World Series finals. And it wasn't like we had overly exceptional recruiting classes in any season coming into that. He was just one of the greatest. He had like the Belichick effect where like we might not have the greatest talent, but you're not going to beat us. Like I know for sure my freshman year, Vanderbilt was probably way more talented than us. Florida for sure was more talented than us. Virginia might have been more talented than us. There's probably 4 teams probably just talent on paper. If you looked at them, you'd be like, this team is more talented than this team. But like we took 4 out of 5 from Florida that year. We took 2 out of 3 from Vandy in the regular season and lost them in the conference tournament. But 2 out of 4 from them. Beat Virginia twice. Like you just weren't going to beat us. I don't know. We just had to. We're not going to lose. And I think that came from Coach Tanner. Like his demeanor never changed through whether we were up. When we beat College of Charleston 27-2. Like he wasn't the same Coach Tanner as when we beat Vandy 1-0 on Sunday. Like it's the same person, and we just fed off that.
Yeah, it's funny. I know Forrest Kumis is one of my really good buddies, and he talks about.
Yeah, that's my roommate.
He talks about Tanner a lot, and one of the things he always, half jokingly said was Tanner was he said, I think Coach Tanner is the baseball god, like in the sense that he knew everything that was going to happen before it happened. He said there'd be games where it's like 100% chance of rain. He said, no, we're going to play. And sure enough, it would not rain. And you're playing. Like Coach Tanner controlled the baseball somehow.
It was voodoo almost. Like it was, he'd say something and we'd all be like, what is he talking about? Like, and then sure enough, it happens. It was some people just have it, and Coach Tanner had it.